This is The Explorers by Sharp. This is for violin for the Symphonic Orchestra audition. There's a few important things to note about this piece. So first of all, starting from the beginning, it says pesante. Pesante means heavy. So stay really heavy in your bow stroke. You have some ties, which even in beginners, we've learned about this. But we didn't really play anything this year that had a lot of ties in it. So a tie is when we have something that looks like a slur, a curved line, but it connects two notes that are the same pitch. They're on the same line or the same space. So I can't smoothly go from one note to the next because they're the same note. So instead, I just tie them together, right? Like I'm tying two strings together. I've now made a longer string. Well, it makes a longer note. So I tie the quarter note, one full beat, with an eighth note, half of a beat. I put those together, it equals 1.5 beats. All right, so that's going to sound like this. If I pizzicatoed it, 3, 4, and, sorry, I was going to do the wrong string. 4, and 1, and 2, and 3. So notice I went 2 and 3. I didn't go 2 and 3. All right, I had to wait for the and of 3. 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. Measure 9, I would practice this. I'll give you a second to find that. That's the measure with all the slurs. Every beat gets its own slur. First thing I would do is I'd write in the bowings. And so I would go, oh, okay, there's a down bow on A, there's an up bow on D. There's a down bow on an F sharp, there's a down bow on the E. And then once you learn them and you've done it pizzicato and you know the order of the notes, then I would make sure that you do something like this where you stop between each slur. Freeze, now up bow. Now 3 notes and it sounds like hamburger. Then up bow. And then I have the next notes. And so you'd put that together each, after you play it 10 times perfectly with long pauses, do short pauses. And then eventually you do almost no pause. At the end of measure 10, you're going to have to take a retake because you end on a down bow, you got to start the next measure. You also need to go to a quiet dynamic. Now, this for beginners is something that we haven't done before, and that's that we have not had to play on the E string. So now we're going to play, in this section, you'll have E, F sharp, so that's on the tape, on your red tape. That's the note that you see at the very top of the staff on the line. All right, top line F or F sharp. G, which is the note that sits right on top of the staff, so it's a space note, that's going to be in between the two tapes. Or also in this piece, you have C naturals too. Because if you look at the key signature, there's no C sharp. So C natural is going to be in between your red and your white tapes. Halfway back, same thing on the E string. E, F sharp, G. A will still be on the third finger tape, blue. And then B, I'm going to really stretch to get to that metallic tape or whatever color you have for your fourth finger tape. All right. At 27, you'll see some weird markings where you see like lines, what we call tenutos, but you also see dots underneath the notes or on top of the notes. And it's like, well, is it separated? Is it long? It's kind of both. It's like a forceful and long bow that gets stopped. It doesn't sound short, but it sounds very marked, or what we call marcato. All right, and that's because it's supposed to be kind of like a military march, right? The explorers are marching off to go explore somewhere new. And then you see SIM at measure 31. That means simile, which means play it similarly. That means that you're going to still have the same, like if it had dots over the notes before or dots and lines, you play it with the same kind of sound. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play from the beginning. A little bit under tempo, probably closer to about 80. I would recommend practicing even slower than that, just one note at a time, until you feel really comfortable with it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 2, 3, off on 4. 1 and 2 and 3. 2, 3, 4. Quiet. Low twos. If you're wondering whether you should be playing fourth fingers or when you shouldn't be playing fourth fingers, for the most part, the note E, because it's so loud on our instrument, if it's any longer than like, I mean, if it's a quarter note or longer, it's very rare for me to ever play an open E. It's me almost always fourth finger. In this piece, because it says dolce at 19, so sweet, I'm gonna use fourth fingers in that whole section. It also makes my slurs easier. 4. I didn't open there because open A doesn't, stick out as much. Now one place where here at 22, because I'm already on the E string and it's only an 8th note, you do an open, that's fine. Open's fine here too, because they're just short 8th notes and they're going up. When you get to 27, I would use fourth finger on all of the E's except the ones that they put a 0 over on in measure 30. All right? Happy practicing and good luck.